right. Yes, so when you're cloning your repos, you want to set up SSH so that you don't have to keep putting the password every time. Yeah, so I always set up my SSH on my Mac to connect to GitLab, but for some reason I always forget whenever I want to do it, so I decided to record a quick video. Right, so I will start right. So there is an article I always use. This one, how to set up GitLab SSH key on macOS. Yeah. So how do I get to this? I already say set up SSH on Mac. Yep. All right. So where is that article? I already said set up GitLab SSH on Mac. All right, yeah, so this is the article that I'll be following, this one right here. So all right, yep. So there is also another article that you can get by going to settings on GitLab. Yes, on GitLab. So you can SSH keys. Then here, to add an SSH key, you need to generate one. So there is another article here on the documentation, so that you can also follow. But well, I will be just following this one because it also references GitLab article. So yep, let's do it. All right, so all right, so they're telling me to cd into SSH. So cd, I'll go to my terminal. So I'll cd into SSH. So they are telling me no such directory exists. So what I will do, I will just leave that alone and proceed to the next step. Right, so so I'm putting my email, and this email that I'm putting is the same email I'm using on my GitLab. So you can see on my GitLab, when I go to settings, then I go to profile, this email that I'm using is what I will really use here. So that's it. All right, this is correct. So I go ahead and press enter. Yep, I'm going to be asked enter the file name in which to save. I can leave it as this, or I can put my own name. So I'll just use GitLab key. Yep, so I'll do that. Enter phrase, I will not enter any phrase. And why am I doing that? This is the first step. You see a message to insert file name. So they are telling you you can put any name. So me, I decided to put this name instead of this. So you'll be asked to enter phrase. Let's just leave it empty. I did that. I just left it empty. Congratulations, you just created your own SSH key. So see, so let me see, to check the SSH key, to check whether the SSH key you created exists, you run SL, oh no, so I need to cd into SSH. Fuck you. I created these SSH keys in the home folder instead of the directory. So maybe since we didn't have the directory for SSH, rather than go to the next step, immediately I should have created the SSH folder. So what I will do is, you can see the directory I'm in right now is the home folder. By pressing PW I can see my current directory, and if I'm to see, I as if created the keys in the home folder as opposed to the SSH folder. So here's what I'm going to do to fix this. Just a quick one. I'm just going to remove the GitLab. Then I also, sorry, I'm sort of like going back. So, so I don't have. So this is what we are going to do. To make sure that we have the SSH folder, let's create it in our home directory. Okay. All right, we're in our home directory, so let's create the SSH folder instead, the .ssh. So, all right, so now we have it. If I do this, I see we have the SSH folder. So let's go back. CD into SSH. So now this uh, refers to a home folder, this one here. So since I'm already in a home folder, I would just say cd into .ssh. So maybe if I was in a totally different folder, that is directory that is not the home folder, I would have included this. So this kind of I don't know how they call this, but this refers to home folder, then this is the directory. So now I'm in there, so now let me execute this again. So we are like starting afresh right now following the article. So why I decided to do that is to show that if you don't have the SSH folder, you need to create it. So let's now follow through. All right, so I've executed this. Here I need to put my email address, and like I showed you earlier, the email address, I should be putting what I have here on my GitLab profile. All right, so enter the file name. Let's go back and say, you say message to insert file name for SSH key. For example, insert this. So for me, I'm just going to insert GitLab. This can be anything really. So me, I'm just going to insert GitLab key as my file name. So I go ahead, generating. You'll be asked to enter a phrase. So I'll just leave this empty. I'm leaving all this empty. So congratulations, you just created your own SSH key. So let's check by listing. All right, so you can see I have my keys and I am in the SSH folder. All right, inside my home directory, then in the SSH folder that I created. So let's go forward. All right, so you'll find two files. These two files are there. So let's go ahead. So to make sure, now we are done with first step. First step, generating the SSH key. So the second step is register the SSH key. To make sure your Mac is able to authenticate automatically with the GitLab, you need to register your SSH key to SSH agent in your Mac. So we have an SSH agent in Mac, so we need to register SSH key with the SSH agent so that GitLab can always, our Mac can always authenticate automatically. So to do that, we will start, we will execute this command for the SSH agent. So agent process ID, you can see 3870. Yours could be different, but let's go forward. Add your SSH key to the SSH agent. So we will do that. So here we are starting the SSH agent. Here we are adding our SSH key to the SSH agent. So we'll go forward. Now let's look at this command. Let's not just execute commands uh, blindly. So ssh add -k. Now you can see this this means this. Where can I type it? Just let me type it here. This thing here, that means the home folder. So just to have that in mind, so the home folder, then the ssh, the .ssh directory, then the key name follows. Now remember, we are already in the ssh folder, so I really don't need this part here. So since we are already in the .ssh folder, and my key name is different, I called it gitlab underscore key. So I'm going to add that like that. So all right, identity added, gitlab key, that. So let's proceed. So I already executed this. Open ssh config file. So we are going to add some settings in the config file. So let me see what I have. You can see I have my two keys. So we're going to say nano config. So again, this is the home folder, the directory, then the file name. So the file name is config. Since I'm already in the SSH folder, I'll just say nano config. So nano config, I'll just come and add to make sure your SSH key is added automatically to SSH agent. After you reboot, we need to set a config file. So I'll just copy this, and now our host is here. Our host is let me show you. My host is, I have I'm not using gitlab.com. I'm on using GitLab, but I'm using my host name is this forge.channelfix. So I'll just put that here instead of GitLab. If your host name is gitlab.com, you would need to leave that one. Add keys to agent, yes. Use keychain, yes. This is more of a comment, so I will really just remove this. Perfect. So identity file is in home.ssh folder, then the file name. So remember, our file name is not this. Our file name was called gitlab underscore key. So that's it. So we need to save. To save, we press Ctrl X. If you're to see here, save the config file by using Ctrl X. So I'll just press Ctrl X. I'll be asked save modified buffer. Answering no will destroy yes. Will destroy changes. So I will choose yes because I want to save. So and press return or enter. So if I check again nano config, I'll find that my settings are there. Okay, so I'll press Ctrl X again. Now if I ls, I can see now I have an extra file, the config file. But all this is in what? In the .ssh folder in our home directory. If I try to check, you can see users, Gilbert, SSH folder is directory is where we at, and now we have an extra config file. All right, so I will proceed. Check your SSH key in SSH agent. So we want to see whether our SSH key is in the SSH agent. Okay, so SSH add -l, boom. All right, we can see it's right there. So we finished step 1 and step 2. Generate SSH key, register SSH key with your SSH agent, and then we proceed with step 3. Insert SSH key to GitLab account. Okay, copy your SSH key. This will be copied to your GitLab account. So what we'll need to do is execute this command to copy the key. All right, so I'll paste this one here. Now again, remember I'm in the SSH folder already. This means the home directory. This is the SSH folder. I'm already there, so my key name is not that, is gitlab key.pub. You can see right here, you see that my key name is that. So I'll have to make sure that is the thing. So I will execute that. Okay. So go to gitlab.com, then go to profile SSH keys. So I go to GitLab. Let me just remove this such that so if I'm here on GitLab, I will go to my icon right here, then I choose settings. Now I think it used to be on profile, but really now if you go to profile, you just see this. So I will go to settings. I'll go to SSH keys. All right. So I don't have an SSH key. So SSH keys allow you to establish a secure connection between your computer and GitLab. So that's it. So we're going to paste our key here. So add an SSH key. We're going to add it here. Remember, we already copied it by using BP copy. So I'm going to just paste. All right. So I just pasted that. The title can really be anything. I'm going to say Gilbert at MacBook. Yep. Pro. Expire that. I just leave that. So I say add. So the same thing according to the tutorial. So we just pasted it. Paste your SSH key to key input, so which we did, and also add the title, which we did. Press add key, we just did that. Test whether your SSH key was added correctly. So to test that, we will run this command. But before that, you can see I added my key successfully, and now if I go to SSH keys again, you will see that there is an SSH key that I added here. Okay, so now to test whether it was added correctly, I come and execute this command ssh -t, but remember my host name is not gitlab.com. I just use my host name, which is this. Great. So all right, so I just do that. Let's test and see. All right, so if you're doing this for the first time, you get a message like this. The authenticity of host can't be established. All right, so and this is like an on message. It is known. I had seen it somewhere, right? So if you follow this GitLab documentation, which I showed that you can get from here, once you're adding your key, this there is when you right click here and open this, generating a new SSH key, then go right here. You see testing that everything is set up correctly. When you execute this command, of which we changed the host name to match what we have here, this message is expected. The first time you connect to GitLab via SSH, you should verify the authenticity of GitLab host that you are connecting to. So for example, when you're connecting to gitlab.com, answer yes to add gitlab.com to the list of trusted hosts. So what we will do is we will type yes here. Are you sure you want to continue connecting? So that's where we are at. Are you sure you want to continue connecting? I will say yes. So the authenticity of forge.channel.fix.com is not can't be established. So we will type yes here to proceed. So okay. Perfect. Welcome to GitLab. Wow, so this is nice. So now let's now test again. SSH minus capital T. Boom. Perfect. 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 So let me try to now clone a repo and see how this all works out. All right, so let's proceed. All right, so I just want to clone a repo. So we're really done with the SSH key process. So let's see where I'm at. I'll just really go ahead and okay. To work cd bpo6. Sorry. All right. Sorry. So I want to clone my repo in this folder, right? So see if it works. Perfect. It's cloning properly. So this is it. See you next time.